For more than half a century, families have loved the Moomba Festival for its free entertainment and the infamous Birdman Rally. But the past few years have been marred by violence and gang activity. This year was no different.
It can only be described as chaos. As fireworks exploded overhead, the real drama was exploding on the streets and on the trams. Over the weekend, during Melbourne's premier family event known as the Moomba Festival, these armed police officers were prepared for combat. Over the weekend and during special events like the Moomba Festival, public transport like trams in the city run 24 hours a day. And as you're about to see, that can lead to some pretty frightening scenes where innocent passengers are forced to run for their safety and young people intent on causing trouble run riot. Watch as the frightened young girl in the Ed Sheeran t-shirt runs into the arms of a friend as a large group of men rampage behind her before storming a tram. Concerned, several police officers swoop. As the officers are preoccupied, the rest of the group on board the tram try and make a run for it. Cops give chase through Chinatown, but the boys get away. The night before, on the first evening of the festival, our cameras captured this nasty fight. Police step in, threatening the disruptive group with mace. Two of the young women involved crashed to the ground before getting to their feet and starting to fight each other. Later, one of the girls argues with police, filming the officers on her mobile phone before wandering onto a busy road. It wasn't the only fight we filmed on that Friday night. It's the sort of behaviour that's frightened bystanders and traders, some telling A Current Affair they're often targeted by street gangs.
There's nothing you can really do. If you talk back, they'll just attack you, I guess. That's something you don't want, so you just wait for them to leave.
Remember, the Moomba Festival is supposed to be an event everyone can enjoy. The amount of families that have gathered for this festival is really astounding. It is absolutely packed. Young kids, families, they're everywhere. It's got to be the only family event where there are as many riot squad vehicles as there are sideshows.
We're very, very pleased with the crowd's behaviour.
In an interview with A Current Affair, Commander Russell Barrett from Victoria Police played down the frightening behaviour shown by some throughout the event.
The number of offences that took place were really small. The number of incidents police had to attend were relatively light. Instead, he talked up the massive police operation that was in place for the festival. We had a strong police presence, and that's what the community would expect on a night like that.
In the early hours of Sunday morning, the area is taken over by a loud street party with hundreds of people drinking and, in some cases, fighting. We're not exactly sure why, but suddenly screams erupt and many start running. Then we see the reason for their fright. As many as a dozen police try to break up the crowd. Here, several officers hold one woman to the ground. In the chaos and confusion, you can see the moment one officer threatens a man with a baton.
There's no respect for authority, there's no respect for the police, and I keep going back to it, there's no respect for being in Australia.
Former detective turned federal MP Jason Wood says police should have made more arrests.
I'm hearing from my former colleagues in Victoria Police that there is a issue when it comes to underreporting, when it comes to incidents of the South Sudanese community, or in actual fact, police being reluctant to make arrests because they're concerned about allegations being made against them.
Well, that's just not correct.
The violence over the weekend comes amid a renewed surge in home invasions involving offenders of African descent in Melbourne. 2 people allegedly involved in this aggravated burglary and assault in Collingwood have now been arrested. And today, Acting Commander Mick Hermans from Victoria Police announced they were searching for a gang of up to 6 youths who robbed 2 teenage boys at knife point in Frankston.
And unfortunately, one of the young men was significantly assaulted in the form of being kicked, and he appears to have received a stab wound to the face, potentially by a box cutter.
2 years ago, Moomba was marred by violence from apex thugs. And through the fierce debate that has followed, there has been progress, with African leaders helping police over the weekend. But there's one thing everyone agrees on. When it comes to tension between police and parts of Melbourne's African community, there's still a long way to go.
It's behaviour deliberately to cause fear and concern to the public and those good people of Melbourne.
Victoria Police are releasing their quarterly crime statistics on Thursday.